Okay, so welcome to the third episode. Now we're going to what I know the best, and that's oil painting. That's how I started, and it's still what I find the easiest. We're going to paint on this journal, and what I want to do is I want to paint a painting for my new theme, the forces of nature. And I would like to have a fire, I think, and perhaps some stars. I'm not entirely sure. I think we'll just start. I'm just going to start with some blacks and blues and just kind of go from there. I always love these processes. It's really just putting some colors down, having a general idea of what you want to do, and then things happen along the way. So it's often important to just be open to what can happen and not be too strict with what should happen. And I only need the colors that I'm going to use for the sky first, and some of the colors for the fires. I know that I want a fire here, so we'll just start with a layer of black and some blues. And then into that, at the same time, I just want the very slight little red background, because I know that the fire is going to light up the sky. At this point, it's all about just getting some of the background colors down, and they are actually going to determine quite a bit that comes later, just in the sense of where things are. So the reds are placed where the fire is going to be. Let's put in a little bit of white here and just make it a little bit lighter. And here we have our background already. So I think at this stage, it's really important to just figure out where things are going to be placed. And I think I have an idea here where the fires are going to be. And now we can start adding the reds, and just starting with that bright red color where we're going to have our forest fire. So for the fires, I am kind of going off of the rainbow principles. I'm just doing the really dark reds first, and then I'm going into oranges, and then some lighter orange again, and then the yellow at the end. And here you can see I'm going for the purple at the very edges, and it's just really following that rainbow principle. If we're going a little bit closer, you can see how that works, how just the very dark reds, and then it just gets lighter. And then of course it's just important to remember that movement of the fire. Let's get the landscape in here. Now at this stage it's important to start to figure out where the things are going to be, and the kind of the proportion. So we don't exactly know how big these are until we start painting in the trees. And now I think we're starting to get a little idea. So I want the trees to be really, really far away at first. I want this fire to be a huge, huge forest fires with lots and lots of details. Let's get into the really small little details. I like to actually start really early with details. I know a lot of painters don't, but since I'm not actually looking at anything, I really, really need to very fast get an idea of the landscape. And so I really like details. They might be obscured later, but I really enjoy having some of those details quite early on. That gives me an idea of the rest of the landscape here. Now, what I'm doing at the moment is I have a brush that I've kind of destroyed the top of, and that is really, really effective for exactly doing what you do at this stage usually. Instead of those really fine details, it can just really kind of get that pattern of trees far away. We're going to go into do more details, but this really is an easy way, quick way to do lots and lots of trees really efficiently, and you can just kind of set placeholders everywhere, so that you know where the trees are going to be and you have the background. It's not necessary to paint everything incredibly small and detailed. I have a few of those. I know how the trees are going to look. And now it's just the point where it's nice to just go in and get some trees there. And I'm going to start to paint some stars. We'll just start with a little blob in the middle, and then I spread that out around this middle, so we have a light source in the middle, and just spread that out so you get the shine of the stars. And this is the way we're going to do all of the stars. This is going to be the shiniest one, I think, and maybe a few more. But all of the stars are kind of made like this, so little blobs in the middle, and then just spreading out around. And then sometimes we'll do a little white point in the middle again afterwards to really make them shine. And I always like that radiance that they get. It's not the most efficient way, and it takes ages to get all of the stars, but I really, really like the look of it as we do it. So I'm just spreading out everywhere here, and spreading out tiny little stars, trying to avoid where the clouds are going to be, because of course they're obscured by that. And then we're just going around over absolutely every little little point here, obscuring it so that we get that shine and that radiance. Now at this stage, I really want to make that cloud a little bit clearer. So I think this is kind of the light from the stars or from the sky that shines on the other side of the cloud. So they're shining red from within, from the smoke, from the fire. But from the outside, they're going to be lit up by the sky, by the stars. And I like this effect. I like now you can actually really see the smoke rising up. I think this fire here should just be a lot more radiant. So I'm just going to go in again, get some different reds going here, put some dark red around. So we're following the rainbow principle again, and I'm just going to put some clearer reds in. So dark reds are all around them, and then I'm going to go in and do some clearer reds in and around that, and then on top of that again we're going with oranges and yellows, just so that it can shine more and more and more. I've built in, as you can see, I built in the wind from the left is coming here, so everything is drifting over to the right, and I'm always keeping that in mind while I paint here, that it's being slowly kind of pushed over onto the right. It's not an incredibly strong wind, but of course fires make their own weather. And I'm kind of imagining that it's whipping out, it's dragging in wind from underneath and into the fire, fueling itself with oxygen. And when that wind is coming in, it's kind of creating this updraft. And then the wind that's just naturally over the landscape is then pushing that inferno a little bit to the side again. So it's kind of an interplay between these two forces here. And now I would like to do the second layer of the stars, because we have one really radiant star, but I actually want quite a few more. So I'm putting in bigger blobs again here, blue and yellow ones, and we're just doing exactly the same as we did before, and that kind of creates this depth, I think, with some larger stars and then all of the smaller ones in the background, and then some white little spots, and we can really have them really, really shining here. Let's go in here and do all of the small little details. This is some of the work that takes absolutely the longest. As I said before, all the trees are now kind of put down, but only with that brush that kind of made the very obscure little dots. And now I'm going in with the liner here and painting all of these details. So every single tree I want the same level of detail on, and you can just go around. We know where all the trees are. We've put them all down, almost all of them at least, and we're just going over them and creating the proper level of details. I really, really enjoy this stage. It's such a kind of a meditative stage, at the same time as it can be quite exhausting because you have to concentrate. but it's after so many years now, it's not a difficult process. It's just really a very concentrated, focused thing. But I always love it because the level of details to me really shows the landscape in a different way. It kind of creates a different feel to the landscape. So let's just enjoy the process here. Now I think it's time for some other colors. I wanted a little bit of green, not much, just a little bit into the landscape. So just going to put down a very, very, very small level of green into the foreground. And then of course we're going to have a stage a little bit closer. So I'm just putting down some lines, making the depth a bit clearer here. And then once we've done that, we can create the landscape that's one level closer to us. I always find that that really pushes everything else so much further back, and it's only then that you really get the feeling of actually being in the landscape. So we have a little tree here, we'll have some fallen trees. As always, this is of course an ancient forest. All of my forests are supposed to be that, so we'll have kind of the old gnarled and fallen trees lying around. And then let's get that light into the foreground now. So let's paint some lines on top of the things that are in. Let's paint some yellows, some oranges into the landscape, and we can get the light from the fire into the landscape and into the foreground. And that's basically it. That's basically it now. So thank you for joining me in painting this landscape. It's been a lot of fun. So this was actually one sitting, and it was possible to go all the way through together here and paint our wildfire with stars. This is actually the biggest fire that I've ever painted in sense of just the scale of the landscape. So thank you. This was a lot of fun.